I specialize in world religion. I know that apologetics has a lot of different places for people, and I struggled at the beginning to find my place. What should I specialize in? I'm not into science, and world religion just sort of drew me from the very beginning before I even knew that it was drawing me. And so I specialize in world religion, I write about it, I help people understand Christianity as well as what other people believe so that we can relate to more people on a personal level, which I've found is a better way to draw people into Christianity is through relationship. And it's hard to have true relationship if we don't understand what those beliefs are. It was my husband, Jay. So Jay became a Christian because of apologetics. He was taking a philosophy of religion course in college, and he was not a Christian. I was a Christian, and we were dating, and he started talking about apologetics and mentioned Lee Strobel and a couple of other apologists, and I had no idea what he was talking about. It was sort of my eyes would glaze over and I'd be like, what? Why are we apologizing for being Christians? It's the normal question that apologists ask, and I didn't understand it, but it brought him to Christ, and so I was grateful for it, right? 13 years later, he's going to seminary, and turns out Denver Seminary has a 50% off discount for spouses. And so I said, I can't turn down a master's degree that's 50% off. Let me get one in apologetics and ethics so that I understand Jay at the dinner table. And so I enrolled in apologetics so I could understand Jay and have conversations with him about what he was passionate about. And it turns out I'm passionate about it too, and realized that there is really a strong importance for having a very firm foundation in faith, and emotions weren't cutting it for me anymore. And I realized I needed to have the evidence to support what I was feeling. And apologetics has done that for me. I wouldn't say I have a favorite apologetic argument per se. I prefer evidence, and so I am drawn toward people like J. Warner Wallace. I really appreciate the way that he approaches apologetics with evidence and proving why it's true. I love Craig Blomberg's approach on the New Testament and providing the historical reliability of the New Testament. So I will read anything that those gentlemen write. And I think it's a great way to enter into a conversation with a non-believer by saying, did you know we can prove the Bible is true outside of the Bible? And I think that's a great apologetic argument in and of itself, to say Christians don't just use the Bible to support Christianity. We have other sources that support Christianity as well. It's a lot, right? We can have all of these arguments in our brain, but if we don't know how to talk about it, that barrier exists and we just don't share it. It can bolster our own faith, but if we're not evangelizing, we're really missing the true point of apologetics, right? So yes, I have tactics. And one of those things is just to ask questions, to involve myself in a true conversation with somebody. So that happened to me on the plane ride here to LA today. I was sitting next to a woman named Sue, and I was reading a book on Scientology, because that's what people who are interested in world religion do. And she said, "What is Scientology?" And so I viewed that as a door, an open door to walk through. And so I said, "Oh, Scientology is a religion that's popular here in LA." And she said, "Well, are you a Scientologist?" I said, "Oh no, I'm a Christian." And it was a very bold, I'm a Christian. I don't do that very often, but I felt that that was a necessary component to this conversation. And she said, "Oh, why are you a Christian?" And I was like, and so I gave her the reasons why I believe Christianity is true in a very condensed 5-minute version, and asked her some questions about her own faith. I kind of turned the pages around on her and said, "Well, what do you believe?" And so people like to talk. So she shared, and I was able to ask her more and more questions, and we engaged in about a 45-minute conversation about faith and understanding whether or not Christianity is real and true. And I gave her resources to look up, written by non-Christians about Christianity, and the historical evidences for Christianity. And I hope that we planted seeds and not weeds, because That really is one of the approaches that I like to encourage people on. Is a lot of times it's not going to lead to a conversion right there in that conversation, right? Like, boom, they're a Christian. But it might plant a seed, and maybe 3 or 4 or 5 or 35 people later, that seed blossoms and grows into a conversion.
It's like breadcrumbs.
Little breadcrumbs to follow.
Breadcrumbs from the bread of life.
Oh, hey. I'm gonna have to incorporate that into my talk tomorrow. It's such a challenge. I was the only woman in my apologetics program at Denver Seminary, and I came to WIA, the conference in 2018, just to meet other women who were interested in apologetics. And that's why I keep coming back every year, because there are so few of us. And I think it's important that we as women know why we believe what we believe. And it can't just be emotion. One of the things Sue on the plane told me today is she gets so frustrated with Christians who can't tell her why they believe Christianity is true. She said they just don't have an explanation. And it's not enough for people to say, oh, I just believe because it's a feeling I have inside. They want to know real reasons that go beyond emotion.